Why don't colleges have a class specifically for behavior management for education majors? At least when I was in college, there wasn't one. I think this is the most important thing, but it's also the hardest thing to learn when you're a new teacher. After 15 years of teaching, I feel like I've got it. Here are my top tips if you're a new teacher. Number one, you have to create a relationship with your students. Think about yourself and who you listen to or who you respect the most. It's going to be somebody that you have a relationship with, that you trust and that you know cares about you. Are you going to want to listen to somebody that's screaming at you or yelling at you or you don't feel close with? No. You have to create a relationship with your students. That's super important. They have to know that they're loved and cared for and that they're in a safe space. And number two, you have to be firm. You have to create your classroom expectations and you need to hold your students, even preschoolers, to those standards. I've actually always used those two words. I've said I'm a loving teacher, but I'm a firm teacher. I recently saw a study that actually just floored me because it was using those two words. They said there are 4 kinds of parents, and I think parenting can line up with teaching as well when you're trying to work on behavior management. There's loving and there's hostile, there's firm and there's permissive. And so you can mix those all and have 4 different types of parents. The worst of all of them, permissive and hostile. The second worst, loving and permissive. So that shows you that it is so important to be firm. Now, obviously, hostile and firm are not going to create a good outcome either, but the best outcome is when parents are loving and firm. And teachers, the same thing. You need to be loving and you need to be firm. So you need to create your expectations and you stick to it. So when students aren't following directions, it is not a choice. I say that all the time, every day. It's not a choice. It's, we're sitting down at group time and somebody's painting at the easel. Nope, that's not a choice. You need to come over here now. And so yes, I will stop my lesson. I do have an assistant in the room, so she'll help me guide them over. But in the end, I hear all the time that students are destroying the classrooms, that I have all these cute setups, but my students would never last a minute in there because they're destroying it. Well, if they're destroying it, then they don't have a choice to use it anymore because the friends that are using it well, you don't want to ruin it for them. So that friend that's destroying it, you're done. You're not playing in that center anymore. My own son is in my class this year and we are playing a game with puppets, and today he got up and he said, I want a new puppet. I said, nope, it's not a choice. He said, I want a new puppet. I said, it's that puppet or no puppet. And he saw my face that I'm very firm. He kind of pouted the rest of the time, but he didn't go get a puppet because that was not a choice. So when you're creating your classroom, those are the 2 most important things. And if you don't have behavior management in your classroom, everything else is going to go by the wayside, because if you can't manage the students, then they're not going to learn. So you have to get them in a routine. They have to know that they're loved. You have to be firm and have high expectations. Then they can learn all of the content. In preschool, that is the content. We're teaching them how to follow directions, how to be kind, how to be a good listener, how to solve their own problems. So it's like, that's all I'm teaching for the first month in preschool here, is all of those social emotional skills and how to get along in the classroom. The third thing that I should have said right away, that I'm always adding in, is positive reinforcement. So everything that you want to see in your classroom, when you see somebody doing that, you need to praise them. They need to hear out loud your expectations in a positive way. I just read in a book study that I'm doing, emotions are contagious. So a teacher that's upbeat and positive, their students are likely to be upbeat and positive too. So I am encouraging all of the things like, oh my goodness, that was so kind. Thank you so much for, I had a student that came in today and she wasn't even playing with these toys and she came right in and started helping her friends clean up. And I'm like, that's amazing. Thank you so much. You weren't even playing with those. What a kind friend you are to come help clean up those toys that weren't even yours. I had another friend that went over and was straightening up our books in the library, and I made sure I said, that is so kind of you. You're really taking care of our classroom, making our books look nice. Thank you. And all of my other friends were hearing this and listening and thinking, oh, okay, this is what my teacher expects. This is what she wants. Make sure you're always using positive reinforcement as well.